Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, April 21st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing, and then the candlestick you see will also be changing and moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, TSLA Tesla, had earnings last night. So that's where the big gap down here came from. But from a trading standpoint now, what I think a lot of people have done, myself included, which I'm going to do, and I make all those comments because when a lot of people have done the same thing and are watching the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So there's no guarantees, but my point here is that in my mind, this seems very plausible to throw this scenario out there. But you got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line down like that. And a lot of people are saying, Tesla, very popular stock. Tesla's been beat down quite a bit. What happens if this price can break through this trend line? Could there be people that are interested in potentially buying that breakout, and just because it's breaking out, people are buying? Again, the self-fulfilling prophecy, yeah, that seems like a valid thought process to have. So again, if the price breaks that trend line, doesn't mean for sure guaranteed this thing's going up to 172. I'm not saying that, but is it, again, could somebody accuse you of, putting no thought or just having a random thought process? In my opinion, no. I think there's a lot of good rationale that goes behind that. Now, as far as levels of resistance, because it's been such a long time since the price has been down this low, we've got to step out quite a bit of a way. So I realize the chart is harder to see here, but that just goes to show that it's been a long time since the price has been down this low. So I suppose I didn't need to go down that far. Or else we're going to get behind my ugly mug there. But next key overarching level of support is down there at 155, which is coming from way back here. When is that? Back in late January. So late January right there, price got down around that area. That was actually a gap up right there. Do gaps have to fill? Absolutely not. So I'm not saying that the price is going to go down there because, well, that gap is never filled, and gaps absolutely have to fill. Nothing in the market has to happen. If that were the case, then there would be a such thing as guarantees, and there are no guarantees in the market. So just, mapping that out, 155 happens to be the bottom of that gap right there, but not saying that gap has to close by any stretch. But sure, it's possible. But overall, like I said, I think, in my opinion, the main dynamic that I'm most curious about, and what you got to think other people are curious about, is that trend line right there and seeing if the price can break up through it. Next one here, BBBY, and brutal move here. Am I going to say that the party's over? I personally wouldn't go quite that far, but is the party on the edge of potentially being completely over? Yes. What would be completely over? Well, right here is the party, right? Very, very impressive move. And if this thing were to go right back to where it all started, well then, that would, in other words, this move here would be completely wiped away. And big movements, if they're genuinely strong, are not going to get wiped away. Now, does that mean the price has to go straight up? Of course not, but the price is not just going to get completely wiped away. So that brings to the question of, okay, well, what would be that area that would define completely wiped away? And that is why, in my opinion, the muscle level now moving forward, right down there at 27 cents. Because if the price were to come down to 27 and break below it, at that point, you essentially have the price having gone right back to where it was. And again, not a sign of true power. Now, maybe you would say, no, Clay, the chart's already ruined. And I hear what you're saying. And I don't even know if I'd necessarily disagree with you. I'm just saying, to make no doubts about it and to just completely make sure the logic is completely airtight. Yeah, breaking below 27 cents is literally putting the price right back inside of that range. So, there's really no more arguments at that point. If there is any sort of attempted turnaround, main areas of resistance to watch are going to be that pink line there and the purple line. The pink line being the 200 period moving average, purple line being the 50 period moving average, and both basically valued up there right around, let's just call it, split the difference, 35.5 cents. But as of right now, looking like the party very well may be over. Next one, CNSP. Like this one quite a bit because there's just a very well-defined resistance area. So going back to that talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, when a lot of people are watching the same area, guarantees nothing but makes it valid to think that a break of it could create good solid movement. And that level is right up here at $3.35. You can see right there, 335 was a problem. And then you look at today was a problem. So guaranteed, no. But is it plausible to think that if the price can work its way back up here and then get the break up through it, that break could create buying pressure and momentum in and of itself? Absolutely. In terms of levels of support, first key level did beautifully holding here. That is that purple line 50 period moving average. You can see that candle drop down and found some support right at that level. In the event that level cannot quite hold up and the price breaks below there, next key area of support would then be down there right at the $2.14 mark. So overall, though, Like I said, I think most people are probably curious about that 335 mark, so let's see if the price can return back up there, and then better yet, get the break. Next one, AUGX, and good solid movement here, especially as I speak. Last 30 minutes, you can see good solid green candle is starting to form. Volume's coming in pretty nice as those numbers continue to increase there. So now it just becomes a question of, okay, nice last 30 minutes. Seemingly life has returned, but is this life going to be strong enough to get it up through this $3.40 mark? That's the level that you got to think a lot of people are watching. And then you also got to think a lot of people have probably drawn that trend line like that as the area of support. And then we'll just complete the pattern here in a second. So let me change that to green. Green represents support. And then as far as the overall pattern is concerned, so we'll keep it one color, resistance, support, big explosion right there. For you golfers out there, we'll make it more visual. Put the golf hole down here. So this will be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, if you like this price range, keep an eye on it. Next one, AMC, not a good day. Now, not a train wreck, but not a good day. And I say not a good day, not necessarily because it was red, but from a technical point of view, and this will be more to those of you that have watched past videos, but the price is now officially down below that pink line there, 200 period moving average, which is not a good sign from a technical point of view. And you can see that this is just a classic example of supports turning to resistance, but price, gap down below it. Try to get above it right there earlier on in the day. Rejected. To be fair, the price did recover back upwards, but you can see now it's still just hovering right below that line. So that former area of support is now going to be that main area. In fact, let me just get rid of these levels of resistance, but that 200 period is now the main area of resistance, and essentially let's just call it valued at the $5 mark. So $5 going to be that first key level if there is any sort of attempted bounce back in the upwards direction. And then after $5, you have that 50 period moving average currently valued at 507. In terms of levels of support, key level now to watch moving forward, going to be right down there at the $4.90 mark. You can see that's where the price bounced right there. Got somewhat close to it right there, and then did bounce off it right there. So $4.90 as of now, showing like it wants to be a pretty strong area, but that'll definitely be an important level because if the price breaks through there, then that'll be new lows that have not been seen for several days. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency to manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage. One special note, it is a genuine live event. So in the event that you're somebody like me, got 5 kids, maybe you have something on your calendar already, so you can't make it this evening, that's fine. Maybe you just flat out missed it. You're watching this video Friday morning. Go ahead, drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com, because the event will be recorded. So after the event's complete and I get it uploaded, I would be happy to send you a link to it. Now, if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up and I'll see you here in a few hours. But if not, like I said, drop me an email. Next one, ticker symbol NIO, and this one has had a very rough past few days, but today was not helpful at all. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line if it served its purpose. And the first key update, just based on that rule that I mentioned earlier, that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So let's get this changed to red here. So if there is any sort of more dramatic bounce in the upwards direction, 875 now going to be that key area of resistance. But to offer up more context here, and again, I realize the chart's getting hard to see here, but that's just because it's been a long time since the price has been down here. But I would definitely consider this level of support a very, very, very important level, which sits down here at the 805 mark. And I say that just because of the track record. You can see once, twice, basically 3 times, 4 times in the past the price is held. It never quite hit today, but if the price does roll back over, because there is a little bit of a bounce right now, but if it rolls back over, then the 804, or what did I call it? Yeah, right around 805, excuse me, going to be a very, very important level. But to be fair, like I said, as of now, there is a little bit of a bounce, but there's a whole lot more work that needs to be done. But like I said, if this thing does roll back over, then that green line is going to be very, very important. Next one, GETR. I probably should have put this one by the other bull pennant pattern, and then I could have just made the note that the only difference here is this happens to be a penny stock. But if you like bull pennants and penny stocks, here you go. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because you've already heard me talk about a bull pennant, but we have our resistance. We have the support right there. So let's, again, just get this changed to green to represent support. And then to keep it all one color, make it easier to see, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move there, we have our golf hole down there. So here is our bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, but you prefer more so penny stocks, look no further. And definitely look no further because we have ourselves another bull pennant right here. With AMD. So I'm going to just quickly get through it. Now, this one's not quite the exact same, but same general idea. You have a very well-defined level That's been a problem of maintaining and building momentum. So it's not a problem of breaking through the 65 cent mark. It happened there and it happened there. But in terms of, sustaining and building upon the momentum, it just happened, hasn't happened. And then in other situations, the momentum just runs out right at that level. So point here being 65 cents going to be that key area of resistance in terms of levels of support. Have that level down here. So again, not going to, not all bull pennants are the exact same thing with the exact same angle, so you don't have to get out like the protractor and compass and measure everything. But resistance, support, upwards move there. Maybe you would argue that's a bull flag pattern. I don't think I would fight against that. But point here being is good, solid consolidation, nice, well-defined levels. So keep an eye on it, especially if you like penny stocks. Next one, AMD, and the first thing that I want to get into play here, which I think a lot of people have done, so we have, once again, a potential self-fulfilling prophecy, but you got to think a lot of people, maybe that stood out to you immediately when I pulled up the chart, is, oh yeah, you could totally draw the trend line right there, to which I obviously agree as I draw it. So just from a support standpoint, probably a lot of people watching that level, you're going to have longs thinking, okay, if the price comes down here, I think it's going to bounce. I completely see where they're coming from. You're going to have shorts saying, well, if the price comes down there and breaks, I want to get short because I think that'll be the continuation of a bigger move to the downside. Again, I understand, I see where they're coming from, but that's what makes trading, fun and brutal, right? Somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, but that's why risk management matters, because somebody will be right, somebody will be wrong. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the common denominator is you got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line in play and therefore will be watching it. In terms of levels of resistance, key level here that stands out to me. And yeah, I don't think this is anything special. You got to think a lot of other people probably draw a trend line like that, very, generally speaking, which puts the breakout area right up there, key level of resistance around the 91.50 mark. So if this thing does start to bounce back up there, keep an eye on that as the main area of resistance. Next, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. Difference here being it just allows you access at a much lower price point, which makes it very popular. And a rough day here as seemingly, and I'll show you, let me just get this green line in play. Seemingly, we have some, problems on the horizon because this level right here, this support level, which was essentially the bottom part of this sideways channel pattern that had been going back and forth, has now failed. With that being said, because the prices blow up, the price is right here. So it's not like the price is all the way down here where, that level of support that, the sideways channel, whatever you want to call it, has been destroyed and the price is nowhere near it. So it's not quite that bad. But my point here is it has now become a legitimate concern of, is today the leading indicator that this, channel has been broken and that there's more continuation to the downside. Again, maybe not, because the price is not, like I said, in fact, this last 30 minutes here, very, very impressive final green candle. I mean, look at this thing. Fighting back beautifully, but it is still nonetheless down below that channel. So that really brings out the main question, at least in my mind, is this a leading indicator of a channel breakdown and for the bears to pick up that much more momentum? So keep an eye on that. And, now I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this level down here because it's looking as though 2650 becomes an important level. You can see it behaved as support right there, and then right there, 2 candles in a row. And with a break of 26.50, then I could very realistically see the price going down minimum to the $26 mark to at least test that. As far as areas of resistance, I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of these now as they serve their purpose. Any sort of bigger bounces in the upwards direction, key level you're going to want to watch are these moving averages. Again, pink line being 200 period moving average at 27.18, purple line being 50 period moving average valued at 27.29. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live online class. Like I said, it'll be in a couple hours, Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But also, like I said earlier, if you can't make it for whatever reason, drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the recording. All I would ask is for a little bit of patience because, again, it's a genuine live event, so the event first needs to happen. Then I got to get it uploaded, and then I'd be happy to send you a link to it. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do 2 things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Did you make money? Did you lose money today? What did you trade? What are you watching tomorrow? Anything helps out the channel like that, helps out, just bring in, with the algorithm, and I appreciate it. So like I said, if you could take the time to hit that like button, leave a simple comment, really, really appreciate it. So hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours. If not, go ahead, drop me an email.